And in our top business story, the Dubai International Financial Centre has hosted the launch of the second regional economic outlook for the Middle East, North Africa and Pakistan for 2016 in collaboration with the International Monetary Fund. The regional economic outlooks are exclusive reports produced by the IMF for a variety of regions with internationally verified data that highlights trends and developments across specific geographies, setting the tone for growth, trade and investment. The latest REO found that despite significant economic headwinds, regional growth is expected to stand at 3.5%. In addition, GCC non-oil growth is projected to pick up to 3% next year as the pace of fiscal consolidation eases. The report also noted that lower oil prices and neighbouring regional conflicts are taking a toll on exports and economic activity, and that authorities could make faster than expected progress in implementing structural reform plans. In addition, it suggested that countries need to accelerate structural reforms to diversify their economies away from hydrocarbons, boost the role of the private sector and create jobs for their rapidly growing labour forces. Dubai has achieved the ranked 16th place out of the 28 peer global cities which are currently considered the most prominent players in the field of innovation and creativity. The Emirate registered an innovation rate of 39.14%, with Dubai also progressing to 11th place in the world for efficiency in innovation outputs, according to Dubai Chamber's Innovation Index. The report released by the Dubai Chamber revealed the results of the first edition of the Dubai Innovation Index, introduced last year by the Chamber as part of its strategy to stimulate innovation and global practices in the private sector. The report, developed in cooperation with PricewaterhouseCoopers, shows that Dubai scores above its average for government, an indication that the government of Dubai is leading the march of innovation in the Emirate by developing the right environment for innovation. The report shows Dubai's leadership in the field of output and performance, particularly in the launch of new products and services and outputs of technology. In addition, intellectual property and opportunities for collaboration with institutions and economies for scientific work have emerged as areas for improvement, as did the subject of cooperation between public and private sectors. According to the results, Dubai's benchmark for innovation is in line with the outcome of the Global Innovation Index 2016, which shows the strengths of the Emirate in infrastructure and information technology. A new report by International Air Transport Association has revealed that by the year 2035, the air travel industry will be carrying around 7.2 billion annual passengers, compared to 3.8 billion passengers expected to travel in 2016. The 20-year passenger forecast by IATA was launched during the ongoing three-day World Passenger Symposium, which during its sixth edition has brought together senior leaders responsible for corporate strategy and innovation, IT and passenger experience from small to large airlines from around the world. The opening ceremony featured keynote addresses by Sir Tim Clark, the President of Emirates Airlines, as well as the new Director General and CEO of IATA, Alexandra de Juniac, where they highlighted infrastructure and political uncertainty, particularly the protectionist policies, as one of the major challenges affecting the aviation industry. Speaking during the forum, the Director General and CEO of IATA warned of an infrastructure crisis in the next 20 years due to limited passenger handling capacities and congested airspace. While speaking to the press during the sidelines of the conference, the President of Emirates Airlines described the current environment as tough, largely due to security incidents in Europe over the summer, with expectations of global demand to pick up in 2 to 3 years' time, as they will continue to expect passenger load of 70 to 80%. It was further added that there are a great number of headwinds to deal with, and governments must act together to ensure the security of the liberal open skies agreements.
There is no room for a further development in aviation, in air travel, because the lack of slots in major airports. So we ask governments to look ahead and to plan a significant investment in infrastructure, either in air traffic control and in airports, to be able to cope with the enormous increase in our demand, which should double in the next 20 years. In 2035, we will transport probably something around more than 7 billion passengers, whereas these days we transport 3.7 billion passengers. So infrastructure has to be there. And our worries is that as it takes time to build a runway, to build a terminal, to implement a new control center, it has to be planned now.
I've been fairly public about where I see the constraints to the development of Emirates and also to the development of the industry as a whole. And it is in those areas that Alexander was talking about, that if the governments and the private sector do not get together to try and improve things. I mean, today we're meant to be having the announcement of the third runway at wherever it's going to be, you know, Bristol, Cardiff, maybe Heathrow, maybe Gatwick. How long has that taken? How long has that taken? Where are we in the United Kingdom, in the southeast? And every time somebody wants to talk about a runway, well, it's a nuclear thing. You know, you've got environmentalists, correctly, you've got everything's going on. So it's a very, very big ask to get infrastructure improved to the extent that recognises the way global demand is going to go. And that's a real pity. So the 380, going back to that, does it fit into a slot if you've got a 737-300, 160 people, as against a 615-seater 380 coming in to occupy the same slot? Well, it's fairly obvious.
During the forum, IATA also launched the new 20-year passenger forecast report, which highlighted a growing demand among emerging markets such as India and China. Despite recent reports by IATA highlighting a slowdown in passenger growth to 4.6% in August, the chief economist of IATA stated that there will be a renewed sense of optimism for the industry.
I mean, air transport flourishes with open borders, and typically that's what we've seen, in the past few decades, which has brought down the cost of travel. It's allowed economies to flourish. It's allowed new entry. I think the movement in the industry or the travel market centre of gravity from where it was 10 years ago over the North Atlantic to today, where it's over the Gulf, to the next 2 decades where it's going to move towards South Asia, is really because of the growth in living standards and demographics, with Asian economies in particular likely to see a tremendous growth in air travel in the next couple of decades.
Dubai-based property developer Nakheel stated that its profit rose 22% during the third quarter, reflecting what it described as stable market conditions. Net income for 3 months to the end of September hit 955 million dirhams compared with 781 million dirhams in the same period last year, but down from 1.4 billion dirhams in the second quarter of this year. As an unlisted company, Nakheel is not required to provide detailed accounts of its financial performance, and as a result, the company did not provide revenue figures for the third quarter or a detailed breakdown of costs and how its profit was achieved. Commenting on the company's performance, its chairman Ali Rashid Luther stated that the results reflect positively on Nakheel's strategy to invest in its income-generating asset portfolio. Luther added that they also are expecting to further consolidate the company's position and finish the year on an even stronger note. Nakheel in August repaid a 4.4 billion dirham Islamic bond, finally bringing to an end a process of financial restructuring that began 5 years ago after Dubai's debt crisis. The developer said that it has more than 2,300 units at various development projects under construction.